Welcome to Milk and Mummies podcast. This podcast was created simply because I found myself happily pregnant and self-employed and wondering, how was I going to juggle it all? Get comfy as we talk all things motherhood, working for yourself, and finding that elusive balance, honestly. How are you, madam?
Oh, not too bad, thank you.
Fabulous. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Sacharissa Claxton, which is my stage name.
Whoop, whoop.
My husband is asking me when we're going to change that. Yes, I'm an actress and a writer, and trying to do other things creatively to keep sane in this crazy times we live in. And also a mum of a 4-year-old girl. Yay. And I'm about to have my second in 5 weeks.
Oh my goodness. Are you excited?
Yes, I am also thinking what you're doing. But no, I can't wait for her to have a little sibling. And for us to transition into a family of 4 is going to be mad, but I'm sure it'll be incredible as well.
I mean, at 4, I feel like because they're a bit more independent and more, I guess, more involved, right? They want to do everything. So it could be fun to have a little helper.
The extra pair of hands. Yeah, she is great with young kids. She does want to get really involved.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll just see how that plays out with the also, right, so you're not all mine anymore, Mum. Because there has been some of that. Like, I don't know, she's reverted back to some like baby tendencies. Okay. Like, which, my husband's like, what? And I'm like, no, it's normal. It's what they do. And
she knows change is coming.
She does. But, sometimes, when people are like, are you excited to going to be an adult? She's like, yeah, I'm done with this conversation. Ask me about me. So, we'll see.
Oh, man. So with this podcast, as you may or may not know, I'm literally trying to delve in and poke as many people as possible in regards to pregnancy, their journey, how that goes with how they work and what they do. So I'm going to be asking loads of questions, or as many questions as I can around all of that. So I know obviously you've said you are an actress and you're a writer. What did you do pre-baby number 1? Same sort of thing, or were you in other areas?
It was kind of, I was like a jobbing actress. I was working in predominantly TV and film and commercial. Nice. But I still have my side hustle jobs as well.
As we do.
And actually, I mean, it's funny because in my teens, I was always like, having a family and having children, that's going to stop what I want to do creatively. That was a strong belief I had in my head, which I think a lot of actresses have, I guess.
I feel like it's fed to you in some way. Like if you're in the entertainment industry, or at least when I think about it as well, like musically, very much, don't have a partner or don't have this. Basically, you need to be as available as possible.
As possible, if you want to be where you're trying to get to.
That's right.
Yeah, that was the narrative, wasn't it? And
especially for women, right?
Yeah, and throughout training, I remember I was told, it's one or the other. Like, you either have the great career or you have a family, exactly. And it's like, And so I was always like, well, no, I don't want that. I want the career. I want this. And then I think I read a book. Oh, of course, like all my references are going to be like, I don't remember what it's called.
We can do a quick Google if we need to, don't you worry.
It was just literally like, I think it was like the golden rules for acting. It was like little nuggets. Like, it was pretty like men. But it was things like, don't put on hold that holiday. Like, and, don't be waiting around, like live at the same time. And I was like, this is true. My mum was a young mum. She had me at like 19, 20. And I always thought I'd do that, but then obviously changed my mind. And then I thought, as I was getting into my late 20s, I do want to be a mum. Okay. I do. So maybe we just make this work. Maybe we change the narrative. And that's been a really beautiful thing to watch, actually. When I went back to work after having my little one, which was just before COVID, but I did do a job when she was 3 months old, and I took her on set with me, and the producers were great. Like, they'd built in like a breastfeeding schedule in between like my makeup and like fitting, and one of the lead actresses like said to me and messaged me privately afterwards saying like how it inspired her because she was told at drama school the same thing, right? It's either career or family, and I think slowly, and there are other things that need to change, but the industry is changing and helping support mothers.
100%.
So that's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember you posting something on Instagram and your little one was at work, and I was like, see, like, it can be done. It is done.
This.
So when it became sort of prevalent in my mind that, okay, I want to have a kid, my partner does too, we want to do this, we're gonna have to roll with it. Don't stop living, because I really had entered into the space. I know you mentioned the golden rules of acting. Just, it's true, don't stop living. At the end of the day, all of these experiences are going to help you with your work as well, right? And make you a better, more rounded actor. So don't stop living. I'm like, look, when I was pursuing music as my sole career, it was like my kid was in my head. My baby was gonna come with me on tour or in studio or whatever else. So it makes never mind if I'm on location or on a stage somewhere. That's just what it's gonna be. But I remember seeing your post and I was like, okay,
we can do this.
She's doing this. They're doing this. Like it can happen. It can work. And I was like, well, yeah, let's go.
And it's kind of exciting being at the forefront of those changes and being like, okay, let's really make changes for those that are coming up behind us because, they need to see that it's possible.
100%. And any actress I've spoken to who is older really highlights how, just similar to what you said, is either the career or family, and also just it wouldn't have entered into their minds to ask or say, I do have a child, or I am breastfeeding, how can we make this work with work?
Yeah.
And I've had some experiences where production have made it possible, whether it's been the flights, the hotels, to whatever else. So it's like, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, you don't know. And, mate, people have kids, like, let's get this done. So
and having people around, like you say, like, even if you just follow them on social media who are on that same journey and being like, okay, this is possible.
Yeah.
And being as transparent as possible as well, I think, because I mean, I am part of a group of parents in the industry, and a lot of them will be like panic when they get a job and be like, and I remember I'm quite lucky in the sense that my agent, she's also a mum, and she has other clients who are mums, so she's had the experience, but also she's very calm and very to the point. And she's very like, we don't have to say anything until this point, and we don't. So I have a lot of guidance in that sense, which is great.
Yeah.
And I've been able to kind of pass that on to people who've asked me questions. So it does feel like the tides are changing.
Thank
and like
goodness. Thank you. Because guys.
I mean, then you invite on a whole new different kind of guilt when it comes to like, working and still having little ones. And
how have you found if you're self-taping, have you found that whole process or learning lines with a child? I don't even want to, I always want to say, and then obviously now expecting, and your body's going through the changes it's going through there. How do you find that? Because it's interesting.
It is so interesting. I mean, in regards to like self-taping, I feel like there's less time to worry and less time to overthink it. So that's been great in that sense. And it literally is like, baby's napping, I have 2 takes. Like, this is all we have. So it's been like quite empowering in that sense, because you're not going over and over and over it and then looking at 8 different takes, which probably aren't different, and going, which one, and then having to bug your agent. Well, they're all the same. Okay. So that side of the process has been quite like freeing in a sense, that you're like, okay, well, this isn't my priority today, but I have to get it done. And you rely on your instincts a lot more. I mean, so I think that side of it, I think I have to take the positives from that side. It is stressful because you are then editing to try and get like a deadline done while you're needed.
Right now, Zena is very. Whenever I'm doing the idents, she really gets that. She finds that so fun to watch. So she's very quiet and she watches it. Then when it's done, I get a round of applause, which is amazing, because we started clapping. I'm like, so thank you so much. I nailed that. Then when it comes down to the actual body of the scene that you need to do, that's when it's like she wants to be involved, or she wants to be held, or whatever it is, or she wants snacks. So have I submitted some tapes of crunching in the background?
Yes.
I have. And it's been received well, which I'm thankful for.
I guess.
But it's really funny just watching her. I feel she's starting to get it, especially when she comes to, say, casting offices or casting studios, and she kind of sees that side of it all. But it's now the space of, well, I want to be in it too. So I've definitely added a baby to some scenes where it's kind of been like, I mean,
Okay,
they never said I couldn't. So this could be
I'm
a bold
with,
choice.
so we're rolling with it.
Right? So there we go.
I think also because my daughter's now 4 and she goes to nursery, like, and will be going to school in September. I have the time now where I can say I have, you know, to whoever's helping me tape, I have these times available.
Yeah.
And so I have forgotten what that is like, because I guess from doing self-tapes in her first year of life, we'd just gone into lockdown. So I also had my husband there.
Yeah. Is he creative by any chance?
He's a football coach
Cool.
at Premier League Academy. So he has his own like heavy workload and working around
schedules and timings, right?
Because he's away at weekends.
Yeah,
so I am a football widow, but he's lucky because I love football.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first year was okay. Then, like, I mean, when she was 2, I guess that was when I was like, oh, this is a struggle. When we all everyone started going back to work and stuff. And it's funny how you forget. I'm like, now, like, oh, we're in a routine now. She's 4, but we're going to do it all over again. And I'm going to be like, oh, yeah.
Did you enjoy that lockdown period with the baby?
I did.
Nice.
I mean, I know it was a tough time for a lot of people.
That too.
Like,
I loved lockdown.
Me too, because she was born in November and then we locked down in like March.
Yeah.
So like, I was struggling the first like couple of months. Obviously, paternity leave's 2 weeks for my partner.
Of course.
He went back to work, and it's, as I said, a heavy load. And we live in London. A lot of my family, at the time we were in South London, a lot of my family were quite far away and helped where they could. But I was struggling.
Yeah.
And because like we hadn't gone into full lockdown, but still the NHS was still aware of what was happening.
Yeah.
So we didn't have health visitors coming over and stuff. They were like, we can't really. And it was limited to certain like in-clinic sessions, but they were also limited because, the world obviously was realising what was happening. Yeah. And I remember at one time saying to my mum, like, I can't do this. Like,
really?
And I couldn't access the services I needed because they were restricting doctor's appointments and things. And I was like, I don't really know where I'm supposed to turn. Then we went into full lockdown and my husband obviously was at home. And I was like, this is incredible. This is like everything I thought it would be, our little family, spending time together.
Yeah.
So I really, really appreciated that time.
Yeah.
And also, it's one of the first times actually where I didn't feel the pressure, because even in lockdown there was that pressure of like, if you're not baking banana bread or like if you're not, learning a language, then what are you doing with your time? And it was like, hang on a minute.
No, that really is.
What? I mean, I definitely thought, do you know what? No, this is the time to focus on my family and be like, it's the only time she's going to be this little. And it was amazing having us there. Yeah. So I feel like lockdown kind of saved my mental health, which is obviously sometimes people might think that's controversial because it did the opposite to other people's. But it was a time where I could really connect with my young family.
It's actually really nice to hear a positive scenario or outcome from that time, because it was super turbulent for so many different reasons for so many different people. So it's always actually really nice and refreshing to hear something.
And I mean, it's
different.
not like I don't feel like I was out of touch at all. Like I lost people during that time. Like my 2 granddads on the same day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there was a lot going on, like family wise, but I needed to be protected in that moment as a new mum. Like, and that I got that from my husband and from my new baby, just being in that little bubble together.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, intense, man. What was your, obviously I understand lockdown played a part in your time, but what was your journey through pregnancy, and maybe even now as you're expecting? What were your symptoms like, or difficulties, or funny moments? Oh, I see a little smile. It sounds fun already.
I think going back to that conversation of like, what's career going to be like when you have a child and stuff, it's really funny because, as I said, I was a jobbing actress. I had my side hustle jobs. And at the time when I was pregnant, I was working at the Crystal Maze as a live action host. Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry. I didn't get a chance to go and I haven't been. Some of my friends did. And I had the most FOMO because Crystal Maze was everything growing up.
It was, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
So to do that was like, and it was with an incredible
like?
team of people.
Yeah.
Like, it was so fun. Like, previously, some of my other side hustle jobs, I worked at the London Dungeons.
Yeah.
And like, I did,
Fun.
I worked at Thorpe Park in the entertainments team, like things like that. And so
Yeah.
I've always been around like fun people, outgoing, loving their jobs, but also kind of pursuing careers in the industry.
Yeah.
So working at Crystal Maze was incredible. Yeah, and it was so fun. It was like, being around performers.
Yeah.
And they were very much like, yeah, if you feel okay to carry on working, like we'll support you. Like we'll have to check the, what's it called, the
I was going to say schedule, planner.
The risk
dates.
assessment type stuff. Because we
Yeah.
are running around crawling through like
Yeah.
tunnels and like, but yeah, it was absolutely fine. Like, and it actually kept me
amazing.
really like fit and
On
active.
your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
But then also at the same time, I was getting like a lot of like 1-eps, 2-eps here of like some really great stuff. Like I did Doctor Who and like I did EastEnders and I did Doctors and like, and then I got a gig on the first season of Avenue 5, an HBO series, and I was there for like 6 months over the summer, and like I was there from like being like 3 to nearly 9 months pregnant, and it was
what was that like?
It was funny because when I booked it, and the nature of that job was incredible because it was like a lot of improv and a lot of writing like as they went along. So I didn't really know how many episodes I was going to be in.
Fair, yeah.
So yeah, it kind of, on my first like costume fitting, I said to them like, I'm pregnant, by the way.
I'm going to change.
Like, yeah. And they were like, oh, okay. Actually, this isn't too bad because I was playing an engineer, like, so I had overalls on and stuff like that. They were like, well, make them a bit bigger so like you can. But it was funny towards the end of the pregnancy when we were doing pickups and they were like, oh, this is from episode 2. You need to stand behind that plant or hold this iPad, like, and we'll just shoot from here upwards. But they were still great about it, They were like, we will get this shot before you have your baby, we hope. And that was great. It was such a good experience. And like all the actors around me, some really experienced actors who were like really supportive, and like all the crew were great. And it was just such a great experience. And being like, it was like, telling my younger self, like, we can do this. We are doing this.
Right.
Look. And being like, wow,
Awesome.
okay.
And do you have any symptoms that, excuse me, affected
Work?
Well, yeah. Or just you in general as well, to be honest.
I think yes as well. I mean, I had really bad nausea with both pregnancies.
Yep, same.
Yep.
How long did that
it's
last
fun.
for? Yeah.
And
how long did it last for?
okay, so in the first pregnancy, it was only till about 18 weeks.
No, okay.
And then it was a bit longer in this one.
Okay.
But yeah, it was, I mean, I've had friends and family who've had really bad sickness, and I've seen them, and they've been in hospital and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, it lasted the whole pregnancy.
Is it hypermesis? I don't know if I ever pronounced it properly.
Yeah.
I may have said it completely wrong, so forgive me, worlds. Hypermesis.
I mean,
either way, it's not fun.
And it really takes it out of you. And I can imagine I was driven crazy by the fact that I wasn't being sick, and I was
Me
like,
too.
I just want to. Sometimes, I mean, it's different, like comparing it to when you're 18 and out on a night out and being sick and going, oh, I feel better now.
Exactly, because it's just out. It's left you now.
And I was like, would that be the same? But I know it's not.
No, I had a friend.
Women.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine say, no, you're lucky that it's just nausea, because for her it was nausea. She'd be sick, and the nausea remained. And
continued.
I was like, okay, I will keep my lots, thank you, and that's fine. But
Well, the only thing that would stop me from being sick, like. From feeling sick, was flavoured fizzy water.
Oh, hello.
Constantly drank that. But also when I was eating, just whenever I was eating, I didn't feel sick. So in both pregnancies, I've put on a lot of weight. But again, it's the only time where I've been like, oh, well.
I need to. And that's it.
And I mean, I've had a very strange relationship with food since being a teenager. And so I have done a lot of restriction.
Okay.
But it's weird that during pregnancy, it's like, I don't feel like I have to. And in a way, that's a little bit backwards, because some of the things that I'm eating, it's not like they're really bad, but I'm probably like eating a little bit more than what's needed.
Okay.
And I know that a lot of my older family members are like, well, it's fine, you're eating for 2. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. That's been debunked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sadly.
Unfortunately.
Sadly, it has.
We're not eating for 2. I only need an extra 200 calories, which is like half a sandwich. Oh, sorry. I got a bit passionate about that. Because when I realised it was only an extra 200 calories, half a sandwich, I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. That's nothing. But at the same time, I'm like, do you know what? Like, I'm doing what my body's telling me.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, and if I want to eat that, I'm going to eat that. And I know that after my first pregnancy, I kind of jumped straight back into a little bit of restriction. Okay. But I mean, I think it's partly our industry, partly being like, okay, I'm going to be back on the screen again. Like,
yeah, so how much time... Basically, you know that you need to, or you may choose to get to a certain point, right? So it's also understanding how much time do I have to get to that point? How much work do I need to put in to get to that point? So if I can, quote unquote, just eat better or eat well, whatever else, that's going to help that whole process. I had that in the back of my head. It wasn't at the forefront of my head at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do what my body needs to do and I'm going to be happy and comfortable. But I was just aware that, okay, Rach, you know what it means to get to a certain, I don't know, weight or whatever else. And you know what work that took. Yeah. So what are you going to do? And then I just had to switch it in my head. And I was like, you know what? I enjoy working out and I enjoy training. I love it. I enjoy eating and I enjoy eating. I'm a foodie. I love it. So wherever I get to, I'm going to enjoy that journey. Yeah. And if I choose to come down or adjust, I'm going to enjoy that journey too. Yeah. That's it. So I had to be in that space. I love the up and I love the down. That's it. Because otherwise, I think there's this idea of snapping back and oh my gosh, I was like, I don't even know what that's gonna look like for me. No. Period. And I know I live in a part of the world where, I mean, everybody's picking and choosing body types and shapes now because we can buy a lot of stuff and inject a lot of stuff into ourselves. Do you? No judgment there. But it's kind of like I'm aware that certain things may take longer to get to it. It's gonna take time, so let me just enjoy the process.
And it's a new body,
that too.
The changes that happen, like when you're growing a life, literally, and you know, a new organ, whole new organ. Like your body's done a lot of things, and it's gone through a lot of hormonal changes as well. So there's going to be differences. Like after my first, which I mean, through both, I've been able to work out through both. I love the gym, I love strength training, and after my first, though, I did have hip problems, like pelvis problems, not necessarily through the pregnancy, but afterwards, which has now impacted this one because going back to training after the first, I would sometimes pick up injuries, and I used to think that they were like, oh, I must have torn like something. Yeah. And eventually I went to see someone, and they were like, no, it's like it's an impingement, like, or it's like there's something that's, you know, like a little bit out of alignment or something, or needs to get back. Yeah. And I understood that and went, oh, okay, I'll be careful with my training around that. But then it's only since like being pregnant again and now having the PGP and like the pelvis, like the pubis, girdle pain, all of that, and being like, oh, okay, this. So
did you have that before?
Not with my first.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But with my second, I mean, I had like niggles, but this was from like quite early on, like week 20, and I was like, oh, why is this hurting? And now I realise that there's a little bit of pelvis separation, which I really want to take seriously now as well, but like after I've had baby, I don't expect it to be like, oh, everything's fine. Like this time I'm going to be like, did you have a mummy MOT?
No, I had grand plans for one.
Me too.
I just never go around to it.
I really want to this time.
Just to see, I wish I'd, hindsight, right? I wish I'd done that pre everything and then to have a mummy MOT and then have the comparisons. I had PGP as well. I'm trying to think of when. I don't know if it was from week 20 onwards, but maybe a bit later when I was definitely bigger. So the whole rolling around or getting out of beds and stuff was interesting. Lying on one side for too long. Oh my goodness. Because turning over was the whole mission. So that was not fun because it reached the point where my partner had to sort of help me out of bed. And even just to sort of sit up was a whole step.
Yeah.
Then just to turn.
Too much standing, too much sitting, too much this. If I don't move, like last week I didn't go to the gym because I had a full-on schedule and I was tired.
Fair.
So I prioritised sleep.
Just rest.
Yeah, but I could feel that I hadn't moved my body enough and I needed to, and you know, my parents are like, oh, be careful. And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
I gotta keep
this helps.
in motion. Exactly. Even like sitting, getting into a car and getting out of the car, the fact that your legs have to sort of separate a little bit, even that was so even now I'll get the odd twinge, even training, like I'll still get the odd twinge. So I just know I've got to strengthen myself as much as possible. Yeah. Will it ever go back to 100%? I don't know. But it was like, no one mentioned that to me before I got knocked up. They didn't.
Okay.
So that's fine. Any lightning crutch for you? A little bit of a...
right towards the end, yeah. And I haven't experienced that just yet.
Okay.
I'm
sorry for reminding you.
Yeah. I remember that. But I do pregnancy yoga. And actually, I did it last night. And some of the stuff we were doing, I feel like I felt him move lower into my pelvis. I was like, oh, hello. Ooh, you're there now. Yeah. You're really there. So... that's been interesting.
Yeah. How have you been finding your birthing choices? First time round and maybe this time round, now that you're a bit more, you know more about what's happening or going to happen.
First time round, like, I wanted to be in the birthing suite at the hospital. I didn't want to be on the labour ward, but I wasn't quite brave enough for a home birth. But I feel like, it went to plan, like because they did say, if we're understaffed, there may not be like, you know, enough midwives for the birthing centre, so you may have to be like on the labour ward and stuff like this. And I was like, I really want to be in the. But when I got there, they were like, it's fine. There's actually no one on the on the birthing centre at the moment.
Thank you. Yep.
And I got to be in the pool, but I hated it.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, I really wanted a pool and there were none available. I was like,
that
what?
happened to a very good friend of mine. We've been pregnant at the same time twice now.
Oh, cute.
I know.
I love that. I was pregnant with my best friend as well. It's great.
She's due 29th of this month. And she has a little girl who's 2 months older than my little girl.
Love that.
But yeah, so... we were both like, we both want this. She didn't get that. She ended up having her little one in triage, bless her.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
It all happened very quick for her, but it was very long for me. I used a TENS machine, which I love, and I will be definitely using again this time round.
I got one. Did I use it? No, I forgot about it. I was like, okay, well, that's £40 down the drain of mind. Okay.
I found it the other day and was like, yes, I remember this. Because I was like, can I get in the pool now? And the midwife was like, it might slow things down, you know, and I'm like...
okay.
She's like, we're progressing, maybe wait a bit. And I was like, no, I want to get in now. So I took the TENS machine off and got in the pool and my waters broke in the pool. So my waters didn't break at the start of labour, like, you know, they do in the films where it's like, I'm in labour. Okay. That didn't happen for me. Like I was already about 8 centimetres, then they broke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just love hearing people's stories because it's so different.
I
There's
know.
Just so many different nuggets that come from everyone's situation.
Yeah, they hadn't broke. I was in the pool, but the contractions were very intense. And I said, I think my waters have just broken. And my midwife was like, maybe. And I was like, no, they have. And I could see things like floating in the pool. I was like, definitely have.
There it goes.
But from that point, everything did escalate, and I think I went into that final like transition from that moment, and I was missing the comfort of the TENS machine, and I was on a drip with antibiotics at the time, which were making me be sick. So I didn't have a pleasant pool experience. My husband said, I was like, I mean, I will admit too, I was thrashing around in that pool like a whale, like who was needing to go back to its home.
Let me be free. I want to go.
And at the same time being sick. And sorry for like everyone listening, but like he tried to catch it in a bowl, bless his heart, and the midwife went, just leave it, we'll clean it up with everything else at the end. And I was like, this is not fun, this is not relaxing. The pool was getting cold. I was like, I think I was, you know, in it with the contents of my, you know, I was like, I think I need to get out and get that back on. So we got out, and we got the TENS machine back on. Nice. And in the transition, and it's funny because I'd read all the hypnobirthing books. I thought I was going to breathe this baby out, and it was helpful to a certain extent, but I definitely panicked when it came to the final transition.
Okay.
Yeah, and was like give me the epidural. And they were like, okay, but we're going to have to call someone. And
oh my gosh,
and we're going to have to wheel you up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care. I want it. Obviously, I'd also said to my husband, at any point I say, don't let me have it.
Okay.
So he was going, no, you don't need it. And I was like, you don't understand the pain I'm in. Like, obviously, demonic at the end of the however many hours it was.
Oh,
so they did manage to speak to someone. They got a gown on me. They had the wheelchair ready to wheel me up.
Okay.
And I went to sit down and I could feel her head. And I was like, and
coming.
Yeah, she's coming. I was like, I need to push. And the midwife was like, I'm not sure you do. I was like, you don't understand. I don't understand. I don't know what this is. This where women don't get to listen to their own bodies. I understand they're very experienced and they do this daily. But I'm telling you now.
You're a new person. I know my body. I'm telling you what I'm feeling. You may have heard this 100 times, but can you just check, please?
Literally. So
just please.
I went onto all fours. That was my position of choice in the end for birthing. And then my husband said he knew I was in the transition period because I sounded like an animal on the farm.
Got it.
It's gone from
you do, right?
Yeah.
It's like a mooing sound.
Exactly.
I don't know if mine was mooing personally. I can still hear mine, but I don't think a moo entered the space. I love that you mentioned hypnobirthing because I'm so curious to know how it worked for people. I was a hypnobirthing person. Affirmations were the only thing that really worked for me and my breathing. Anything about everything for me happened so quickly. It was 4 hours from when my waters popped to when she came.
Oh wow.
So maybe I didn't have enough time to sort of really center myself. I couldn't get there quickly to visualize I just had my affirmations. I felt everything, obviously, the pain, the surges, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't get this space of like, I don't even know if you're supposed to, where obviously birth is painful, sure, but I don't know if you were meant to hit a space of like almost being quite nonchalant about the pain, because I was like, no, my whole body's on fire, so I have to work with the fire and walk through the fire. And that's how I describe childbirth. I'm like, put your hand in a candle. That's what that feels like. So I'm always curious to know how hypnobirthing was for people.
Yeah.
Did it?
Well, it's funny though, because I thought it was working all the way up until like that transition.
Okay.
And I think now doing pregnancy yoga and the same lady who teaches that, she's a doula and she does hypnobirthing, and I've had conversations with her where I do worry that like I didn't get the full hypnobirthing experience, you know?
Okay.
Like where I should have been like using my affirmations and I should have been using my breathing to help me through that transition. But obviously, you don't know what that's going to be like. You have no idea. Like
first time round, right? You're having to figure out so much.
And so now this time round, I'm like, okay. So maybe when that moment comes, I will know that this is what it is. Even though I'd read that there will be a moment where you think I can no longer do this,
and that's when it is
coming.
Yeah. So I remember that for sure. So I was like, okay, well, let's keep working through it. But
that's what I didn't do. I was like, no, F all this. But I mean, it'd been a long.
By the way, you can spare.
Thanks. It had been a long journey to that point.
Yeah.
Because I remember, so I had her at 12:45 on the Monday morning, but I'd started labour on the Saturday afternoon.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that started with like a walk with one of my best friends, and like I remember saying on the walk, my face feels funny. Like my face feels like really like woo. I feel like I've like I don't know, like either I'm on drugs or like I'm on some kind of
natural
like,
high something.
I was like, my face, literally, I think this is what I was doing. And my friend was like, you're right. And that afternoon, I came home and watched the football with my partner. I was like, I think we're in labour. And it was from that point. And it was, so that was like Saturday afternoon. And then I went into the hospital Sunday at 4:00. So I had like 24 hours of like early labour. And I was thinking, this is fine. I can do this.
I can do this. I got this.
Yeah, I was like, my mum and my husband were my birthing partners. And I mean, just before I went to the hospital at 4, like I was walking around Sainsbury's, like, having my surges and being like, I can do this. This is fine. And it wasn't, I think maybe I was tired, and that last transition period was a bit like, no, this has been far too long now. I can't do this. But from the moment of that transition, it was about 45 minutes. So of pushing, like, well, not even of pushing, just of being like, okay, we're in this moment. And then she arrived. But actually once I'd got past that initial wobble and I was in my chosen position, TENS machine was back on, and I knew she was coming, and my body kind of took over.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that was, I felt like that was okay. It was the lead up to that.
I'm just glad you had a TENS machine experience.
I'm going to do it again. And this time my midwife is like, home birth? And I'm like, maybe.
I had a friend who did a home birth. It sounds good. Like, I think they had a really good time.
Yeah.
I also had a friend who was like, she had dreamed of doing a home birth, and then she went, nah, Rach, the cleanup.
Yeah, this is
and
true.
Like, I don't want to have to do that too. So I was like, I didn't even think about that. So I was like,
I don't think the mum has to do that part. It definitely will fall down to the birthing partner and maybe the midwife. No, obviously not the midwife, but
she's done enough.
Yes. Yeah, I thought of that, but I mean, it depends. She was like, I have a pool. Like, I can bring the pool.
Thank you.
But then I was like, yeah, but I wasn't really feeling the pool first time
Fair enough, you didn't. And
no.
This is the first time I've heard someone say, enough, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Because you'd think it would be like, because I love water as well. It's very relaxing for me.
Same.
But I think it was the mixture of being sick and having the drip in and having that security of the TENS machine taken away, like when I was, and having the sensation of waters breaking. I think it was just everything at once.
Too much.
It was too much.
Like I said, no pool for me, so I was in a shower a lot until they told me that I had to get out. And I remember an obstetrician popping in going, oh, hi, I'm going to be your obstetrician, da-da-da. Oh, don't worry about the pool, he doesn't do anything anyway. And I just looked at her like, listen to me, woman, what? Because the shower helped massively.
Yeah.
So I was so angry, or just the feel of the water on me helped a lot. So I was so angry to be out of it because I wanted to have like a wireless monitor, and then the battery died. And so I had to be put back on to one with wires, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, but I say all of that, even though the team and the birthing experience was really good. It was very surreal. My most vivid memory was, I mean, quite a few, but feeling her coming down the birthing canal was insane. That was wild, just bobbing down, then going back up, bobbing down, going back up. But for you, did you have any vivid, like, birth in the moment, like birth moments that you can recall? And also, I did actually think about this. Is it annoying having this conversation when you've got 1 week away?
Do you know what? It's funny because, like, me and my husband were watching One Born Every Minute in the run up to having the first.
Did you? Oh my gosh, I didn't.
I also feel like that is so bad because they obviously it's for TV, so they're only going to pick the dramatized,
the most
version
heightened,
of labour. Yeah, so maybe in my transition I thought, here it is. This is my One Born Every Minute moment. But no, I know it doesn't have to be like that, and I would really love a really peaceful, calm birth this time around. And I know, speaking to like my yoga teacher, she's like, second time, it's not a guarantee, but like usually is a quicker labour. Like you know what's happening, so you know you're not as panicked, you're not as stressed. And I feel like I am going to be like that, which is why I am considering home birth.
Okay.
Like, so. Talking about it is fine, but I feel like I am determined to have a more relaxed, peaceful, because I know it can happen. Like,
yeah, for sure. I see it on Instagram all the time, right? So it's got to be real, right?
When people are like, I'll share my birth story with you, and it's like, oh, I want that. Like, but I feel like we are like with the breathing, and you can really be in control of your body, even when you feel like what is happening. Like,
no, I agree. I do. It's just, I do agree with that. And I do recall the moments when I really felt in control, or when I really understood that I was working with the midwives, when to stop, when not to. And I understood whatever changes I was doing, and even changes to the tempo of your breath, how that impacted your body and all of that. So I do believe that it works. But I think because I felt so prepared hypnobirthing wise.
Yeah.
I think I expected maybe way more control a lot earlier or throughout the whole thing rather than in moments. But the visualization side of it all, I mean, nah, that was not my jam at all.
I had like little fake tea light candles.
Oh, you had time, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
and like I had like a specific smell that I really liked that we sprayed around the room.
Yeah.
Like I had my birthing ball, which I didn't use as much, and I think I will more this time because I've used it a lot towards the end of this pregnancy, and it is very like I don't know if it's because of the pelvis, but like really opening it up. That's been really, really nice. So I think I'll use that a little bit more.
But did the smells help? Did the lights, like the
and we had a playlist.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and I think it's funny it's going to be different because it's just going to be me and my husband this time. Wow. When my mum was there before, I never planned to have her there. Okay. Like it was just going to be me and my husband, and like my husband knows me very well, and he's like, I think you need also the comfort of your mum because he's very good at like if there was anything going a bit wrong or if anything not that it did, or you know, if there was any panic, he's very good at keeping things like I don't know what this is, how to put that into words.
Keeping it calm, focused.
Yeah, like being like, this is the task in hand. Okay? Yeah, we're having a baby. It's okay. This is where we're going to get to.
Yeah.
Whereas I also feel like he knew I also needed the it'll be okay and the like love and but he's very much like, you're going to be fine.
Okay. So I guess maybe more the lighter touch, the feminine touch.
Yes, exactly. Balance. But I think maybe also it might be good this time round to just have him being like, right, come on,
let's go.
But I do actually. Okay, so I have one of those vivid memories just popped into my head.
Yeah.
As she was crowning the Ring of Fire, which I don't remember actually as the Ring of Fire.
I didn't have it. I just had shoulders pop, and I was like, oh, twinge.
So as her head was coming out, like he popped down the business end to have a look, and I saw his face completely change. Like,
oh, really?
He came back up, and he was just like a little kid, and he was like, "You're doing so well," and it makes me like, oh. Get goosebumps now, but he was just like, I'm so proud of you, and it was the one moment where he switched from being like, come on, you can do this, to like I could see like and funny enough because he is a coach, I think that's why, but to being like just like the dad, like that's to being like our baby is coming into the world, so that is always something that I remember and is like, that's really cute.
That's sweet. I love that. Oh, I love that. It's also really nice as well. Hearing the dad side of things. I'm debating if I want to have my partner on this podcast to hear his perspective or not. I don't even know what I'm debating. And this isn't even really going to be an all-female space because I can imagine when you guys get to hear a bit more of the episodes recorded, you're going to hear guys here as well. But I have been tempted to see if I want to hear a man on this podcast from that side of the world. But just it's nice hearing their reactions to things and how they coped with that. With these changes to your life now, you're a mum, motherhood is in full swing. How has that impacted you creatively? Because as you said, you write as well, right? So what is that like? Have you noticed a difference in stupid question, I was about to say in the types of creativity that you have, which sounds ridiculous, but has there been like a difference, you know?
I think so. I mean, as we touched on briefly earlier, like new experiences and like challenging experiences, because you know it's not easy being a mum. Like
it is not.
Have definitely shaped like places that I can go, like to reach, like to bring up things for the creativity and the authenticity of creation. So that's been incredible. I did a film towards the end of last year and it was the toughest, like mentally having to prepare for the role. And I did it in a very different way to what I'm used to doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you want to elaborate on that or not? I don't know. I know some people can be not funny, but you might not want to share your process.
No, I mean, it would always be like before quite methodical the way I'd like, you know, research my character, like, you know, mining through the script for clues, like, you know, putting my own spin on it, like understanding who this person was. So that's always something that I've done and is ingrained in me. But this character, without giving too much of the story away, her son is missing.
Okay.
And she's in a very dark place.
Okay.
And I was actually away from my daughter filming for like 8 weeks. Wow. So it was a really difficult time. And I didn't want to blur any lines between me and the character.
Yeah.
So I used an actor care specialist, actually, who's trained psychologist and acting coach.
Yeah.
Along with a spiritual friend of mine who calls herself an earth doula. She very much is.
Yeah.
And she's incredible. We kind of created a container where I met my character.
Okay.
And I see myself, and a lot of creatives, is very empathetic anyway, but I literally created a space to meet her, to listen to her grief and what she was going through as a mother, and then wanted to do her story justice, but it was somewhere where I could meet her and then leave that there and come away from it.
Okay.
Which, even like if I'm doing characters in the future that don't have trauma, is a really interesting way, and I found it really cool because it then, like, the way I would journey to meet her was always through breath and visualization, like hypnobirthing. So if I felt out of touch in the moment or in a scene or whatever, I just had to get back in touch with my breath and visualizing the container we had created to meet her.
Awesome. Okay.
So it was a really different way of working for me, but I really loved it. And I've not seen the film yet. I've seen the trailer, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Amazing. But then I guess also with the writing side of things, I've always written like little short stories or like, poetry style stuff or spoken word, and not really anything that I've published or used.
Okay.
Then I've written short film scripts, one of which we were going to be putting into production, but then I got pregnant, so it's going to be put on hold. Okay. But the feature story that I've always wanted to tell really has developed and grown, and I've started writing that. I've just applied for an early development fund for that.
Nice. Awesome.
And I feel like because becoming a mum, it makes, I'm sure this is the same with fathers, but it makes you confront some of the stuff that you thought you dealt with. Yeah. That kind of comes back. Because it's a little bit like a mirror, isn't it? Like, and you're like, okay, there is some stuff that I've not quite worked through.
Yeah.
So I went back to therapy, and therapy coupled with the feature film that I'm writing is based on my coming of age story.
Okay.
There's some changes to it.
Yeah.
But I found it really therapeutic to like write the treatment for it, and was like, okay, this does need to be pushed. So all of that has kind of fed my creativity, but then there's just time.
Yeah.
Because obviously I am an actress before I'm a writer, and that's been our push like over the last couple of years. And when I have sat down and written, it's been great, but it's not been a priority of mine. Okay. So that's why I thought I'd like go for the early development fund and like get some structure and some financial backing.
Of course.
And then I'd have more like emphasis on writing, I think.
No, but it's great to hear how it's impacted you in both avenues of what you work. As you said, yes, you're an actress first, you are a writer, but it's nice hearing how it's impacted, and I guess it's how it's shaping those spaces for you as well, which is really, really great. When you talked about writing and obviously it's a coming of age story of yourself, it kind of made me think of journaling. It's not the same thing at all, but it kind of made me think of that, where you're just literally pouring yourself into something, pouring. So that's really, really great to hear.
And that is it's important.
Yeah,
I think journaling, that's another thing that I don't do enough of.
I know, me too.
I do find it really helpful.
Same, exactly the same.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever done the artist's way.
That was the thing that got me into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is really good.
Because even if you're just writing nonsense, it's just getting it off your
head, just out of you.
We've discussed this like off the podcast, but I'm not great with lack of sleep. So when I'm first woken up in the morning, I'm like, everything's shit. I hate life. I've got my gorgeous little girl like looking up at me. Like, I have my husband, I have my house, I have food, but I'm like, I hate everything. So I did find that journaling, even the stupidest things, would actually put me in a better mood. Yeah. So I feel like I should do more of that.
I do miss it, and that's such a great book, because it really helps me just, you know what, not everything creative or created has to be used in a certain way. Just do for the sake of doing, and be happy at that, and just flex that muscle. Yeah. And just, I guess, really trying to align your joy with what you're doing and what you're making. So the artist dates is one thing I really loved, because it's like going to see new things, try new things, and just be in that moment and be as present as you can.
That is so true.
It's a really, really great book.
I've done quite a few cinema dates from the artist dates, like of independent film, especially obviously with writing my feature and stuff. But the first artist date that I took myself on, it was a last minute choice because I had a little bit of time before picking my daughter up from nursery, and I had an audition at a casting in Central, so I was like, what's nearby? And I just Googled the closest museums. I ended up in the British Museum, and I voice noted before and afterwards, and it's quite funny actually, because the voice note before was like, oh, I'm doing my first date, like, you know. And then why did I pick the British Museum? I just was walking around angry, like that was stolen, that needs to go back. I was just angry, and I also had my backpack which had my laptop in it because I wasn't going to do a date. I was going to do some writing. So it was heavy, and I was like, I ended up leaving it early thinking that was a waste of time, but it was quite a funny experience at the same time. But I was like, I should have known that's what
it's like. I think I haven't been to a museum in a while for that same reason. I just left feeling really angry. And oddly, it was at the V&A. I didn't see that coming there.
No.
Because it's like, well, but it's all, I'm even trying to think of how to describe the V&A. But it's like, it's all fabrics and textures and designs and styles. And I don't even know what segment I hit. But I was just like, but what is this doing here? Why is this it? What is that? But why? No, but that came from, and I was angry and I just left. And then pre that, and I think it was also coupled with the museum I went to before the V&A was the War Museum. Why I went there, I don't know. But I was like, you know what? At the time, I had lived in South for a while. So if I took the bus anywhere, that was always on my route. Like, I could see the War Museum. I was like, do you know what, Rach? Bit different. Go in there one time.
Just see a bit of culture.
My friends, I just literally went somewhere to witness how people just chose to kill each other from 0 BC up until modern day, and what it means to have places like Guantanamo Bay, and how they use the internet, but basically how modernized this type of weaponry has become. And I was like,
and it's all one-sided, isn't it? Because it's from whichever country the museum is in.
Exactly. And I was like, you know what? So the V&A was meant to cheer me up. It did not. And I don't think I haven't done a museum since. Actually.
No, I think you've just got to stick to the science museum with the kids and, like, you know, or
Tate.
portraits.
Tate Modern, where I can walk around and be like, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could definitely make that. I can corner off some space and have nothing in it and call.
But I guess, like, the book says, doesn't it, whatever emotions it invokes from you can use with your creativity. So but I don't know, anger seems to be one in life and motherhood that crops up a lot for me, and I'm like, how do we use this?
What can I do? I was gonna say, with motherhood, I'm finding that there's always a new project that people start. Have you started a new project, or have you had one and is it still ongoing?
So I think this is like a 2-pronged answer actually.
Okay.
I decided I wanted to learn a language.
Okay.
So I've been learning Spanish. I say been learning Spanish. Obviously Duolingo, everyone's best friend.
Basically.
Which, you know, reminds you when it's been 5 days, 10 days, and then
I feel like Duolingo. I thought it's the games that you guys play. My partner is learning Portuguese, and he's like, "Oh no, I've got to do it. I've got to up my points." Or do you go down?
Yeah, into like leagues and stuff.
So I'm just like, are you learning the language? Or are you just trying to play a game to make sure you're like number one?
Well, this is true, and I think it tries to like incentivize the learning, but also I'm thinking, I don't know if I'd use this in a conversation, like some of the stuff I'm learning. And I think Duolingo's great, like to do like, you know, say I'm learning a language, but I think I would love to take it a step further and get like actual tuition. And also like we do have Spanish and like South American friends who speak Spanish. And I'm like, I need to like utilize them.
Yeah.
But it means my daughter's been picking it up as well, which is so cute. She knows like all her colours, and she knows like numbers, and she'll know little phrases and stuff, and which is really cute. And at her nursery, they do Spanish.
Oh, amazing!
I know. So like that's been cool.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I've also had like a moment where I'm like, obviously I love acting and I love writing, and the acting kind of being on set is what I love, and like, you know, the creatives that I'm around and get to meet. But that doesn't happen all the time. Like, I am a mum, and like I am, you know, that is my priority at the moment. And also you can go through periods of time where you're not working.
Yes, that's true.
So I did have a moment like this year where I was like, I really need to find, writing wasn't really, it picked up, but I needed to find something else as well. Like that was away from like my job description, like to really
I get that.
feel like a purpose, you know? So I've been really on a like self-discovery journey this year on that. And I've been trying loads of different things. And the latest one, I've just enrolled onto a course about children's mental health.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah, I was all for it at the time. And now I'm a bit like apprehensive and a bit scared. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to help fulfill a purpose. But like, let's go for it.
Okay.
And then I'm also really passionate about like helping women through their like pre and post and during like fitness journeys, like with pregnancy and stuff. And my husband was a personal trainer, and I nearly did my qualifications years back. But that's cropping up again as well. Thinking like I've had so many conversations in the gym of late of people being like, oh my gosh, how pregnant are you? And you're doing, and I'm like, yeah, this is great for labour. This is great for, so like, and I know there's a lot of women out there who are like, would love to do it, but are worried or don't know where to start. And like, so I'd also love to help people in that way. So I'm like exploring some options this year.
So Spanish was the project of choice. Now there are a few more options like burning away. Okay, cool.
But I don't want to be like, you know, trying everything at once and then like nothing comes to fruition. So we'll see. Maybe 2024 is the year where we nail one down.
Pick one, finish that one, and then next year pick the other one, finish that one. No, I get it. It's dope though. It's nice that it's opened these doors, as you said, right? There are different things that you want to try. And again, it kind of, I guess, circles back to the notion of making sure that you are living. These are things that you want to do. It's outside of your job description, but it's stuff that you're excited about and you're passionate about. So why not? Yeah. You know?
And I think I always said, like, if I wasn't an actress or if I wasn't creative, I'd want to be like a psychologist. Yeah. But also, well, I feel like that's what we kind of do with our characters anyway. But
very true.
But I'd probably go down the route of like serial killers.
Tell me a bit about how you. But again, that's also really interesting.
Really interesting,
like, bro.
You know how your Netflix is like tailored to you, like, and when you go to my husband's, it's like sporting documentaries and like, you know, like he loves like, you know, your David Attenborough and stuff like that. Mine is literal, like they're suggesting every serial killer documentary that they've ever made, and my husband's like, should I be worried?
I don't know where I came across this, but there was just someone who'd made a similar thing where it's like you can meet the nicest woman or you see the woman in this particular light, but when you go to her Netflix, why is it all about murder, death, scandal, I don't know, fraud? Like, what are you doing behind the scenes?
Oh dear.
Hey, it's engaging stories.
Yeah,
right?
it's like Mindhunter. Yeah. Like if I was able to interview people, do you know, maybe that'd be a nicer Piers Morgan or something.
Fun. Why not?
Yeah, so that's also a hobby on the side.
Yeah. See? A whole bunch of different things. Love it. What has been your biggest love, takeaway, and biggest struggle with motherhood?
Oh, that's a really good question.
If any at all.
I think one of my biggest takeaways is like seeing this little person like grow and take on their own personality and their own. Has been incredible to watch, and at the same time, like it wasn't just her that was born that day; it was the mother also. It was me, like. So we're both growing together and not forgetting that, like, and reminding myself every time I beat myself up because, you know, I wasn't gentle enough that day as a parent, or you know, or you know, I didn't get to do this or that, like. Just a reminder that there's two people growing at the moment, like her and me as a mother. And it's beautiful if you can like surrender to it. Yeah. That's a big takeaway I think I'd take. Like it's really helped me be in the moment. Like, and then at the same time, how, like I said, it's brought up a lot of things that I thought I dealt with that. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like I definitely had someone like say that to me, oh my God, like have you dealt with all your stuff? And I was like, Oh, what are you talking about? No, because like she isn't a mum. She really wants to be, and I know she's gonna be incredible. But I was like, no, because things come up for you as a mother, like what happened with your mum or this and the other or whatever. So I was like, I think I'm fine. So I'm like, I feel like I'm waiting for my moment for things to come up so I can deal with. But it's like, me and my mum is hilarious. No filter. Any and everything that can be said, shouldn't be said, she's gonna say it.
I love that.
So I think so I think I had to really like answer her. I think we've dealt with our stuff because we talk about all the stuff all the time and everything else. But I'm aware that things crop up and pop up whenever they do, right, in life. So it's nice to hear that that's come up for you, whether it's been difficult or not. But the fact that it's just, I'm pumping my hands, but I guess that these things are just kind of being expunged and dealt with.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
difficult or
yes.
Okay.
I think for me though, like a huge part of was like I was quite an angry teenager.
Okay.
Like, and I thought I dealt with that because I mean I practice Buddhism now, and like I'm very like reasonable and like conversation, like communication, all of that. I'm like, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Like it's how we resolve things, and like, you know, being empathetic towards other people's struggles and stuff. But when you've got a 4-year-old who has been awake all night and will not put their shoes on, and you're late for nursery and work, and they are back chatting, and the rage that I have felt worried me at times. I've had to take myself to other rooms and be like, I'm going to give myself, which I guess is showing her, you know, healthy ways to deal with it, because I'm not exploding in front of her. I probably have shouted a few times and then regretted it, but you know, hey, we're all human.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, being like, wow, okay. Yeah. And knowing that what's happening here is not her fault. She's just a 4-year-old who's like, well, I'm, you know, just doing this now.
I'm just doing this now.
Doing this now.
That's it.
Yeah, and then it lies within us. And actually, so a book I would really recommend is, I'm going to butcher the title now. The book... we might have to Google it.
I'm going to Google it. What's it called? What do you think it's called?
The book you wished your parents had have read, and your children will be glad you did.
The book you wished your
parents
had read. And you got that absolutely spot on.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Yes. Go me.
That's exactly it. You can get it on Amazon for $8.99.
You can. And I've been listening to the audio version because I did buy it, and then like it took me forever to read it, and I've realised now that just popping it on like a podcast whenever I'm in the car. Yeah, exactly. Right. And yeah, it is, a lot of it is a reflection of the things that when you were younger, like your parents, you know, doing their thing, like they did what they could with what they knew. Exactly. Some things worked, some things didn't, and then we get to deal with that. Thanks, exactly. And then we talk about it, and then we hope we don't do the same things to our little ones. It's a great cycle of exactly that. So yeah, that's been a really good book in me realizing that what triggers me is just unresolved things within myself. Yeah. Which I can then, you know, try and work through. Right. With or without my therapist.
But no, even with that, the amazing thing is you're aware, you know what triggers you. Or sometimes things will catch you unawares, as it does with everybody. And you figure it out. It's great that we're in the time where we have the dialogue for that. Yeah. Because there are times when I can sort of think about this space, and I like to say with Zena, I'm like, oh, we've completed level one because she's now 1, but it's great that we are in a time where we can talk about mental health and all the rest of it. Maybe a bit too much sometimes, in my opinion. So I'm like, listen, back in the day we didn't have time for what, but like, you know, but it's great that we do have the dialogue and we can take the time to figure this out. Because when I think of my mum, I'm like, and she was a mum of 5 kids. Yeah, I can't imagine her. Sorry, I know she didn't have the time for this kind of stuff, and even I don't even know if she ever had moments where she could even formulate the question of like, how am I doing today? Or was I too much over there? Or did I do this or not do enough of this or whatever else? So I appreciate that we're in this space where we can do that and hopefully be kinder and more gentle to ourselves, because then we're also being kinder and gentler to our kids. But I'm also very aware that they have a lot of privileges in 2023. I did not. So I'm hoping that I don't make too many of those comparisons when she gets older. Because right now, my kid she's hilarious and it's funny and it's great watching her discover things for the first time. She's now really engaging with the word no. So right now, it's very funny when she says no to something that she clearly wants, or she's still trying to get the sounds right. So it's so cute and it's hilarious. But I know, get her to 2, 3, 4, 5, and she's telling me no. And I'm like, wait, what? So this is where I know I need to, like, let me enjoy the cuteness now and find the peace and patience when it starts to really mean something. And she's definitely not putting her socks on. And I'm like, but why? Anyway.
No, I agree with you, though. I think we are very, very lucky to have a space to talk about, like, mental health and, like, and things like that. But two things that I've really, like resonated with. One is, our parents did the best. I know this isn't everyone's story, but I know in my case that my parents did the best of what they could with what they had. Yeah. And they made mistakes. Yep. But like, and and I think I've read something somewhere that's like, about, children being in therapy and stuff. I think it's a great thing that we're in therapy, like that we're talking through and working through our stuff. But like, you then realize when you're a parent yourself, that like, it's not easy. And like, they did make mistakes and you have to forgive that. Otherwise, I'm now an adult with my own responsibilities for my feelings and actions. Yeah. But then also, like you say, like, I think we need to be careful as well of being like, it's great that we can talk and we can now find so many diagnoses for things, but also we need to make sure that we're still holding ourselves accountable and not saying, well, it's because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I agree. Because that is not an excuse. You still have, like, a responsibility, like taking some responsibility in their own, part you have played in. Yeah, no, for sure. What's happening. For sure. Because otherwise, I mean, we may already be there. We just start to... It can be used for excuses, then it becomes really trivial, and then it's like, look, you've got like it just becomes a joke, right? So I hope we haven't gone too far down that road, and then it becomes a bit trivial, and it's like, oh, we had the moment and then we fucked it. And now nobody cares about your mental health. Is there even such a thing as mental health? Do you mean? So I'm fully aware of those spaces, but it's I'm a friend of mine mentioned this, and I really want to get my mum on this podcast, but that'd be great. It's gonna be hilarious. I think she's even gonna find it. I don't know what she's gonna think, but I'm leaning on the signs where she's gonna find it ridiculous that there's a podcast for stuff like this. Yeah. Don't you have food to go and make? What are you doing? Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be that, and I'm just like, but mum, like, things and sharing, it's important. So it's gonna be really funny I'm looking forward to hearing her perspective on that kind of stuff, and just seeing if any of the thoughts or questions that I've mentioned, if any of them even like matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. Because there are times when she can look at certain scenarios that we can find ourselves in as kids, and it's almost like she knows that you're not going to get it because you have to go through it, but there are certain things where she's like, it just doesn't even matter. It is so unimportant. And my partner hears this a lot and he finds it really funny, which I'm very grateful for. But even having kids, I think once I finished uni, the question was, so when are you having kids? I was like, but I just graduated. Can I get a job or find someone that I like? My mom's go-to piece of advice that she would tell anyone is like, just pick any man. They're all bad. And I'm like, but this is not the advice that really. She's like, yeah. Oh my goodness. Can I at least try and find a good one? Like, just hopefully. And it's just like, I'm trying to even think of any sort of deeper meaning or thing to it, but I guess it's the understanding we're all different. We're gonna want to have that we have different wants and needs, and it's like finding the best person that you can work with. And even on that, we're all different. Like the way you parent your children, like obviously there's a whole flex right now on social media where it's like gentle parenting. And like I get that, right? Because we do need to take people's feelings into consideration, because I mean with the world and the state it is right now, so polarized that we're not listening to each other, so we do need to listen to our children and hear them. But at the same time, like I always laugh at those memes that are like, but gentle parenting, I have a gangster child, so I can't gentle parent this child. It ain't gonna work. Like they bully me. Okay, I said it. Okay, like so and my husband's great at I think he had like quite a strict upbringing, and like he's great at finding the balance. We're like yin and yang when it comes to that. I think and because we communicate, we can bring both sides out. But I think she does need like she needs children do need boundaries as well, and they
Yeah.
need to know that we are the parent. You're not best friends, because that's going to become very hard to parent when you hit the teens.
Yeah.
Like, that's not your best friend.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
sorry.
definitely my
No
child.
offense. Like,
No, I get
my
it.
best friend.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I get it.
but I do agree with some of the aspects of gentle parenting. Of course, like I want to hear her out. I want to make sure she knows that if anyone's got her back, it's her mum.
Of course.
Like, and
100%.
dad. So
yeah. Oh, the lessons be learning. The lessons be lessening. The journey is journeying, guys. It is. Sasha, thank you so much for your time today. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Great.
I feel like there's so much more I wanted to ask you to talk about, but I'm like, let me do this in sections. It's cool. I want to have you on next time, because like, we haven't talked about breastfeeding. We haven't talked about this or sleep deprivation.
Gosh, yeah.
And then coupling all of that with work. There's so many things. So. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
It's
you.
been hilarious. Hey loves, before we sign off, just a quick note to remind you that everything shared on this episode is based on personal research and personal experiences, lived experiences. I hope we were able to give you some food for thought, but please make sure you conduct your own research and speak to your healthcare professional if you have any questions or concerns. Okay, with love, catch you on the next one.